Hello Redhawks, we have another Canvas training tutorial. In this video we will be looking at the use of Lockdown Browser and some of the advanced settings that you might need to get into. Obviously Lockdown Browser is not a Canvas tool, but it gets used through Canvas, which is why we're going to put that under the heading of Canvas videos. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and go to our dashboard and find the course that we want to work with. And then once we get into our course, we're going to look in our course navigation down the left-hand side, and we're going to find Lockdown Browser. If Lockdown Browser is not there, then you'd want to go to Settings, find your navigation tab, and then make sure that you drag Lockdown Browser up to the top, and then make sure we scroll down to the bottom and click on Save. So we'll go ahead and go to Lockdown Browser. And then you'll see that I already have a couple quizzes in here set up to use Lockdown Browser. It lists down here on the side it's required. You don't have to use this obviously on every exam. And then it automatically adds this requires respond as Lockdown Browser into the title, which needs to stay there. We'll go ahead and work on quiz 3. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the down arrow, and I'm going to go to Settings. Obviously I'll have to start out by requiring Lockdown Browser for the exam. You can set a password to get into the exam. If you want to have students start at a similar time, that's a possibility, but not required. The thing we want to really focus on here is this advanced settings menu and what's in there. So this first one, require Lockdown Browser to view post-exam feedback. That's going to, if you have it set up so that students can see their results on a test or quiz, that's going to require that they stay in Lockdown Browser to see that. But that will be dependent on how you have your settings set up within quizzes. So for that, you'd have to go to quizzes and then to the settings to allow them to see the correct responses or not see the responses, or however you want to set that up based on your own personal preference. The next option would be lock them into the browser until the exam is complete. If you click on this explain link here, it does say they don't really recommend this option unless it's in a proctored environment. If they do need to exit, it does prompt them twice to make sure they understand that they're leaving the test. And then it does require them to leave a reason as to why they terminated early. If you do choose to lock them in, then you can have a password that will allow them to close the exit early should they need to. Again, that's why in a proctored environment it might make a little more sense, because now they're taking this test at 7 o'clock at night, you're not checking your email, and then they can't get the password unless you've given it to them early. And if you give them to early, then there was no reason to set the password up to begin with. Always a good idea to allow students to take it with an iPad. We never know what device your student is testing on, so you want to make sure that you check that at the very, very minimum in all these settings. The other one that maybe isn't as well known is allowing them to access outside sites. So what will happen is anything that you list in this box and then link to someplace within the test and a question, say maybe there's some data you want them to use or an example you want them to view or something like that that's on a website or from a book or something like that, it would open a new tab. They're locked into only the sites that you give. So this can be a little complicated, because if they say have to log into something, then you'd have to list the web address for the login screen and then the address for the page that they're going to go to. So it takes a little bit of trial and error to do that. The other reason this might get used is if a student maybe has some sort of an accessibility tool that they use, screen reader or something like that. You could whitelist those here as well, and then they could go back and forth between the screen reader to get them to read the question to make sure they have the tools they need based off their needs. And then the last two here, enable a calculator on the toolbar and enable printing. If you have needs for those, then obviously you could turn those on. Down here at the bottom, we have the ability to require proctoring using Respondus Monitor. This involves them turning on their webcam and being able to record them while they take the test. Respondus then records that and flags it for certain events. I would look more into this if that's something that you want to do. If you go to the Lockdown Browser website, it goes into details explaining exactly what all that does. But that is a possibility, something you can turn on, or you can contact us in our department and we can help you look at that option as well. Then when we're finished, we're going to make sure we click on Save and Close. And now we'll see that quiz 3 requires Lockdown Browser, and we're all set. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. We're always happy to help. Other than that, have a great day.